thank you all for coming. And thank you, Marguerite, for joining us this evening. I am just so excited. Your artwork was meant to be healing. Yes, yes, and amen. It's really beautiful work. And so I'd like for you to just give us an idea of who Marguerite Anglin is and how did you get started?
I just want to say thank you. Thank you, Adrian. Thank you, Lisa. Really excited to be here and talk with you all. I am a mixed media painter. I live in Philadelphia. I am self-taught, although I have in recent years received some training, but it's not like I went to college for or to school for fine art. Actually, my background is in architecture. And people often say like, oh, well, that's art. Yes, architecture is art, but it's not the same. It is very strict. There are architects who are artists, but my background was very like project management, very linear. You gotta make sure the buildings don't fall down. And so, when I was growing up, I really loved to draw when I was really young, really young, loved to draw. And I wanted to be a fashion designer. And I recall my parents kind of trying to gear me towards science or gear me towards fields that were where they thought like you're going to make a good living or you can really do something with this. But art, I'm not sure. Fashion design, yeah, unless you're going to be Calvin Klein, I don't know, that type of a thing. And so I went to engineering camps and business related camps, and I discovered architecture. And I remember a camp counselor once told me, oh, here's a way that you can kind of combine that, your left and your right brain, and you can do architecture, and it's really more of a profession. And so I said, okay. And I went into that and I did that for, I would say it's been over 20 years that I did that. I did architecture. I worked in different architecture firms and even worked for a university in a campus planning and design office. Through that time, I just didn't do art anymore. I stopped doing art. And this is all throughout my like high school. I took drafting in high school as an elective instead of art. And then in college, I didn't really have any art courses. And then all through, and as an adult, it was a really difficult season in my life. This is about maybe 12 years ago. I felt like God was really calling me to be just to kind of express my creativity once more in different ways. I started knitting, I started sketching. I was starting to go to a new church that was very creative, and I would take my sketchbook with me, and I would just kind of take my sketchbook with me. I'd be in the back, and I didn't want anybody to see what I was drawing. And I remember one time there was a service, and there was someone who was painting on stage, and it was just so free and so beautiful. And I was like, wow, had one of those moments. I said, too bad I can't do that. That's amazing. And literally the next day, I had a moment with the Lord, and I was looking up at the sky, and I just really had the desire to paint it. And I started having this conversation with the Lord in my mind's eye, in my head. And I was like, oh man, I wish I could paint what I was seeing. Like there's something beautiful in that sky. There's like a story that there's something I want to tell. And I wish I could just capture that. And I really sensed that God was saying, well, why don't you?